on 2 rows of 7 cylinders. 14 cylinders cranking out to 1,700 horsepower. That's an R2600 radial engine cranking up right now. Yes, this one's a carrier-based airplane.
And of course, air's rolling.
Following Tom Dovey off the runway, I have Mr. Terry Rush at the controls. This FG1 Corsair. I know all the airplane guys go, well, that's an F4. Well, no, it's not. That's an FG1. That is a Goodyear built aircraft. Chance Ball could not build airplanes quick enough, so they subcontracted that from General Motors, and they started producing airplanes. Same aircraft, just built by General Motors. They called it the FG1. Brewster also built the Corsair aircraft. They called that the F3A aircraft. But this particular one is a General Motors built. That's an FG1 Corsair being flown by Mr. Terry Rush, and both these airplanes are based right here at Millville Army Airfield. And his cute little bird taking off now to Warhawk P40. This is flown today by Mr. Dan Daniel. He's going to take off from the Holy Master demonstrating the P40 and aerobatics horse this afternoon. We're going to Tom Dovey, Terry Rush on the climb with TBM and FG1 Corsair 4 times by. Show you what these airplanes look like in the air. Now our past president, Mr. Bush actually flew the TBM aircraft during World War II. This is the aircraft, not this airplane, but this is the style aircraft that he was shot down in during World War II. The TBM Avenger aircraft had flew with a crew of 3 on board. And trust me, like I said earlier, these airplanes were not built ergonomically for people today. I had a chance years ago to take a ride in the TBM, to fly in the top, the rear gunner position of the TBM. I'm not that big a guy, but I could not physically get myself up into that airplane. You had to be a little guy, like Little John over, to fit up the back of that airplane. You had the rear gunner, you had the bombardier down the belly aircraft, and you had the pilot flying the front seat of the aircraft. This big old round R2600 radial engine pulling this airplane through the sky, 1,700 horsepower, yanking this big old bird through the sky. Now, if you had a chance to look at it parked on the ramp, probably see the wings do fold on this airplane. Not in flight. Once the airplane is safely on the deck, they fold the airplanes back, or fold the wings back on the aircraft. You can park a whole lot more airplanes on the carrier deck with the wings folded back. As Terry Rush approached with his FG1 Corsair, left-hand side, this also was a carrier-based airplane. Take up the wing platform of this aircraft. You notice how the center section of wings goes down. That was done for a reason. This airplane is powered by an R2800 crank with the original engine crank. That's 2,000 horsepower. It's 2,800 cubic inches cranking at 2,000 horsepower. Again, at a whopping full bore for about 3 minutes, you got 2,100 RPM. That cruise airplane engine's loading on about 1,500 RPM. The Corsair aircraft, you took that big round radial engine at 2,000 horsepower, it took a big propeller to harness all that horsepower. When you got a big long prop, you gotta have with a flat wing on the Corsair, you couldn't get the prop clearance you needed. If you put a long landing gear in the aircraft, it became a weak landing gear. So to stop that problem, they put the bent wing, the gull wing on the Corsair aircraft. That shortened up the landing gear and made it a nice carrier-based airplane. It was given to the Marines during World War II. They didn't like the way the aircraft landed on the carrier. It had too much bounce to it. So they pumped it off to the British. The British made a few modifications to the aircraft, changed the shock absorption of the landing gear, got rid of the bounce, gave it back to the Marines, and said, hey, this is a pretty good airplane. The TBM Avenger. What Gunma produced was the TBF Avenger. Mr. Tom Duffy controls the beautiful TBM for us this afternoon. I can go what pops a Bombay open. They could carry a torpedo in the belly of that aircraft, or bombs, a torpedo bomber aircraft. After the war, the TBM became 5 that was Rito was the box. And load that full of liquid penetrator. Put out fire, not so much water. And it became an aerial bomb firefighting aircraft. Some of the pilots called the airplane the Turkey, the Pregnant Beast, or the RAF actually called the aircraft the Tarpoon. Now as Terry Rush comes to the left side, the FG-1 Corsair, again the single-seat fighter aircraft. Now the aircraft again 4130 front mounted to the fuselage. Now as far as putting the control surface on that aircraft are covered with fabric. The control surface being the ailerons, the flaps, the rudder and the elevator aircraft, they're actually covered with fabric. And there's a reason for that. Most of all the fighters during World War II had fabric covered control surface. They were easy to fix. A little water out of takeoff, you can get almost 2,900 or 1,900 horsepower out of that engine for about a minute. If you could afford to buy 130 octane fuel today, which you can't, they don't make it anymore. Well, you couldn't afford to buy it. Let's put it that way. You take this aircraft, 1,900 horsepower, military takeoff power for 1 minute, burning 130 octane fuel. Told me, you want to find out how much fuel they're playing on. You take the horsepower of the engine, the R2800, crank it at 2,000 horsepower. You drop that first zero, you got 200.
There doesn't appear to be a factor at this time. It's about 3 miles over Millville.
That R2800 practically cranking out. Oh, right now it's probably pushing big 1,200 horsepower out of it. He's got the power to hold that. There were a total of 12,571 Corsairs built this production run. 12. That's right. 1, 2, 12. The world today. And you got one of them right here at Thunderbolt Raceway Millville Airport.
Pacific Flight Airball, first makes it to photo pass, last pass. Last pass.
Carry your 1 now. Piece of trash just over the crash bar right here on the waterway. About 200 feet each other.
In 1952, the last ones produced, they were used in the Korean conflict and, of course, during World War II. Mr. Terry Rush's beautiful FG-1 Corsair.
That's about the same level that Terry just came by at.
Keep using them big words, we're all confused.
Mr. Tom W. and his beautiful TBM adventure.
Of course, and runway.